All right, we are looking at lesson 85 today. Systems of nonlinear equations. If an equation has a variable where its exponent is not a 1, it is nonlinear. Equations in which you have two variables being multiplied together are nonlinear. So like x times y would make it nonlinear. So these are examples of nonlinear equations. Xy equals 4. 4x minus xy equals 7. 5 equals y plus x squared. X squared plus y squared equals 7. Parabolas, circles, hyperbolas, an ellipse, any of those. Why? Okay, so these are examples of circle equations. X squared plus y squared equals 64. 3x squared plus 3y squared equals 27. Did you get it fixed? But I don't understand why second, third, fourth, or fifth hour didn't catch that.
Yeah, can you take the next first hour? Someone had to do it.
These are ellipses. I'll show you a picture of these in a second. For x squared plus 9 y squared equals 36, or x squared plus 4 y squared equals 1. These are examples of parabolas. Y equals x squared minus 10x plus 23. Y equals 3x squared minus 5. Those are the hyperbola examples. X squared minus 4y squared equals 4. 32x squared minus 8y squared equals 8. I'm going to show you the examples of what they look like. I'm on page 336 in your textbook. Circle. You know what a circle looks like, right? The way that they make it, they take this cone and they just cut it flat, and it makes a circle. The way they make an ellipse, they take their cut and they slant it, and it cuts like this. And it makes, what do you know this shape as? An oval. It's the same thing. Oh, oh. How'd y'all make an ellipse? No, but how did you make it? Oh, you just had to draw it? Oh, okay. There's an actual way to like draw it. Anyway, parabola is where it's slanted, and do you see how it goes past like the end of the cone? It's kind of like an ellipse, but it like doesn't actually finish up. And then a hyperbola, do what? Hyperbola is a vertical cut over on the edge, so you only get parts of it. So that's what they look like. You're not going to be graphing these, okay? You just need to know what the different things are. We've had questions like this before. It said to solve a two-equation system, but in the past they have been lines. How many ways well, we talked about Friday how the different ways the lines intersect. But if they're not parallel and they're not coinciding, how many different ways can lines intersect? If I have a line and another line, how many ways can they, how many different ways could they intersect? Just one, right? They always just have one intersection point. Does that make sense? If they're not parallel and they're not coinciding, they only intersect in one spot. These are not going to just have one solution. They could have more than one solution. Does that make sense? Because they're not two lines that are intersecting. What is this first thing? The equation.
A circle.
It is a circle. What is this? Yeah. If I have a circle and I have a line, how many different ways could they intersect? I have one intersection point here, and I have one intersection point there. So there are two answers that I'm looking for. Does that make sense? So whenever I get my answers, I should have two answers, not just one. Okay? Any ideas how I would solve that system of equations? What?
Oh, wait.
What would you do?
I'm going to move the x squared over, and then I'm going to take the square root of both sides.
No, I don't want to do that. What would you do? How would I solve this equation for y?
Plus y minus 3.
Solve for y? Do you agree? Now can we do substitution?
No.
Just square it.
So we say x squared plus, what is our y now? Squared equals none. Any questions on that part? You're going to have to FOIL it. Yes. Yep. So what would we get when we multiplied this out? Okay. So x squared plus 4x squared. And then any questions so far? Okay, now what can we do?
Oh, you get divided by 5?
No. I want a factor. How could I factor?
Okay.
Not by
So
eight.
it's X.
Not by
Like
eight.
X.
If you pull out an X, what are you left with? What do we do whenever we have factors that are set equal to 0?
X equals 0.
X equals 0.
X equals 0 and
X also equals
5x minus 12 equals 0? Does that make sense? Okay, so x equals 0 is 1 and x equals 12 over 5. Do you see where we got 2 x values, whereas normally we've only gotten 1? Yes. Any questions on getting the 2 x values?
No.
Y'all got it? So, oh, well, I just always circle them. I don't know. You are, yeah, you're going to put them in point form. So we got our x values, but we don't have our y values. So what do? Plug it in where? Okay. Plug in 0. And what would you get? Okay, so what point do you get? 0, negative 3. That is one answer. Yeah. You get 2 different values for x because there's one intersection point here and there's one up there. And those are the 2 x values. Yeah, you plug them both into... No, I just plugged in the 0. Well, that's my point. 0, negative 3. That's one answer. And now I have to plug in the 12 over 5 to get the second answer. We're going to have 2 actual points for our answer. Okay, so 2. 24 minus 15. So what point did that make? So that's one answer, and that's the other one. That's how you actually have 2 answers, because they cross at 2 different places. Those are your 2. It helps so that you know how many answers you have, so that you don't accidentally drop an answer. Does that make sense? That's the only reason you want to know what they are, is so you can see how many answers you'll actually have. Point, just write them as 2 points. Any other questions so far? Okay, let's look at another one. Wait, what? Okay, never mind.
What is this gibberish?
Oh no.
These, what lesson? No, this is leading up to another lesson. I forget which lesson it is. It's boat in the river problems, lesson 92. Yeah, boat in the river. So that's what this is leading up to. In a few lessons, we're going to do, well, at lesson 92, we're going to do boat in the river, and we're going to end up with things like this. So they're getting you to practice using the equations before we actually get to the word problems. Do what? Well, it's like a boat's in the river. Like, it'll go this direction, and then it'll go this way. Yeah. Okay. What would you do for this one? Okay. What would you eliminate? Okay, those are going to cancel. What's left? Equals. So what is BTD equal? But what am I actually solving for? Do I want BTD?
Yes, because you can substitute.
Well, I mean, I want, but what answers do I want? I want B and I want TD. So I know that they multiply to give me 40.
You can just 20 minus 5 TD equals 16. That looks like STD.
Yeah. So if TD equals 1, what does B have to be? Because they multiply to give you 20. Do you see how that works? So these are in preparation for another lesson. Don't skip them. Don't try and plug in other things. You're going to have to do this kind of thing in a few lessons. Yeah, boat in the river. The B stands for boat. The DT stands for time.
So 20 to be 1 hour.
Any questions on these? So on this, you do not have to actually draw it out. I mean, you don't have to graph them or anything like that. I would just look at the graph just to see how many answers I should have. Okay? Any questions on either topic? Okay?